If you've forgotten all about Ben Affleck's movie, The Accountant, you would be forgiven because it came out way back in 2016. It was a big year for superhero films like Captain America Civil War, Deadpool, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad. Hell, we even had a Star Wars film that year, Rogue One, which spawned a really excellent series on Disney Plus called Andor. Yes, there was some pretty stiff competition when Ben Affleck and Gavin O'Connor tried to launch this new spy thriller franchise, so it went somewhat unnoticed, including even by me. I did not watch it until recently. Nevertheless, I do get the vibe that there is somewhat of a cult following behind that movie. I mean, that must be the case because they just released a sequel. Has the nearly 10 years of absence been worth the wait? Is The Accountant 2 worth going to see in cinemas? Let's discuss. The Accountant 2 reunites Ben Affleck with Jon Bernthal and also features J.K. Simmons and Cynthia Addai-Robinson returning to their roles from that first movie. We also get Danielle Pineda, and much to my disappointment, the role of Justine, played by Allison Ray in the first film, has been recast by Allison Robinson. Sure, they're both named Allison, but the vibe is just not the same, but we'll get into that later. In this film, the accountant is once again being summoned to do what he does. Remember, this is not just a man who can do your taxes. This is also somebody who really loves puzzles, and he is quite capable of fucking up a motherfucker. Right off the bat, the best part about this movie, if not the best part about this movie, is that chemistry between Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck. It really carries the movie and makes it work. You may recall at the end of the first film that we find out in that film that Jon Bernthal is the accountant's brother. Hell, maybe you don't recall that, but it has been made clear in the trailers for this movie. Not to mention, I made it clear in my recap of that movie. If you haven't seen that, you should definitely check it out. Ben Affleck does not miss a beat, bringing his timid, blunt, and brutal accountant back to the big screen, and it's clear that this is a character he truly does love. He values this character. That's gotta be the reason why he was willing to revisit this role all these years later. His mannerisms, the way he presents himself, even his humor, it's all spot on, and really helped remind me that yes, Ben Affleck is a great actor. I was recalling how during the 90s there was really this whole Matt and Ben thing. Like, do you like Matt Damon more or Ben Affleck more? Maybe there wasn't. Was that a thing? I don't know if it was a thing. I think it was a thing, and that's because these two were besties. They were always in public together. They were known for starring in movies together, so they kind of became synonymous with each other. But I felt like there was this who's better than who thing, and for a while it felt like Matt Damon was edging out Ben Affleck because he kept getting the more interesting roles. But I would say that lately Ben Affleck has been proving his worth as well. Actually, not even lately. He's always been a great actor, and Jon Bernthal, well, he is just far too easy to watch. He may not always be in great movies, but he has been great in everything that I've seen him in. This man always delivers a performance that is memorable, that's easy to get into. He's just extremely charming, and I am not saying that as a gay man, I'm saying that as a man with eyes. I also thought Cynthia Addai-Robinson did a solid job in this film as well. She's a woman who wants to crack the case and has been reluctantly accepting the help of the accountant and his handler, and it's helped to really grow her career. You can tell that she is completely uneasy with this arrangement, but she is sticking to it because it is obvious that working with the accountant, even though he is a criminal and a murderer at that, it is yielding good results, not just for her career, but also just for the safety of this country. This film, I feel like, leans way more into the spy aspect of things than that original film did. Justine and her fellow residents of Harbor Neuroscience Academy, they are like legitimately an army of Qs. Q is that guy from Bond who makes all his gadgets. He's kind of the man in the chair. Yeah, these kids, they are all just like, every one of them has the intelligence of Q. And one could actually argue that this part of the movie borders on cheesy, because the things that these guys are capable of doing, these kids with their supercomputer, it honestly does feel a bit outlandish. But it's all fun and it works really well, I guess, because this is a spy film, and one must expect a spy film to have spy film gimmicks. And while I'm talking about that Harbor Neuroscience Academy, I do want to talk about what I said in the beginning of this film, that I was disappointed that they recast Justine. And mostly my reasoning behind that is it feels like the character of Justine from that first movie is missing a lot of the mannerisms and tics that she had in that first movie in this new one. I'm like, did she really just get a lot better, or did this actress not perfectly study that previous performance and not know to give us that? Because in that first movie, Justine had a lot of those tics that sometimes autistic people have, and she barely did anything of the sort in this sequel. Pacing in this film might not always work out. There are some slower moments in this movie, but even those slower moments are extremely entertaining because of that gorgeous chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. These two really make this movie what it is. They make this movie worth watching. And while I can't say that The Accountant is as good as most of the Bond movies or the first 3 Bourne movies or even the Mission Impossible movies, I do think that this is a franchise worth continuing to explore because Ben Affleck clearly has a love for this character. Jon Bernthal, I think, also loves his character, and it is an interesting universe that we have been shown, and I do want to see more of it. For me, this movie is a 7.5 out of 10. Now, I know that doesn't seem like quite the score you were probably expecting. You probably expected a lot higher. But don't be discouraged by that because I still think that this is very much a movie worth seeing in cinemas, and I did take a lot of enjoyment from watching this. Great acting from the 2 leads, some solid action, perfectly timed and subtle humor. I think this is a pretty solid win. I would call this movie a success. It's not a roaring success. It's not reinventing the spy genre. I guess if you can call this the spy genre. It's not really giving us anything super fresh or unique, but it is giving us that fantastic chemistry between Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck. And like I said, these two, it kind of has like almost a buddy road trip vibe to it. And I think these two really solve the characters, and I really enjoyed watching them interact. It was worth the price of admission. That's my thoughts on this movie. What did you think of this movie? Did you see this movie yet? If you did see it, please go ahead and put those thoughts right in the comments. And if you liked this video, why don't you let me know that you liked it by hitting that little like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, you should subscribe to this channel. Later.